Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of May 19th, 2021 to order. First thing on the agenda is to accept and modify the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. First up is a presentation, Giants Feeding School Kids Check Presentation. Trey Patrick. Dr. Ballinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In September 2020, Martin's reached out to Miss McKenzie in order to partner with the Food Service Department to register for the Giant Feeding School Kids program. The program allowed people to round up their grocery total as a donation towards feeding children. The program was a huge success, and today I would like to invite Trey Patrick up to present.
Thank you, everybody. You know, at Martin's, we're a subsidiary of Giant. So at Martin's, you know, we're always trying to get together with the community. And this opportunity presented us a way to give the schools in our neighborhoods funds, you know, specifically to help feed kids, hence the program name. So the only thing that we do ask, you know, as we present this check for $16,400 is that we use it to help, you know, feed the kids in our school district. Other than that, no strings attached. Beyond letting us know how you did it, what you did. But I do have a letter from our company, you know, explaining everything and what we'd like to see. So I don't have anything else other than, you know, thank you guys for everything you do. And
Bear with me 1 minute, Mr.
Absolutely.
I've got something I'd like to read before we go to a motion. While the federal government is covering the cost of breakfast and lunch meals, we will be able to utilize these funds in other ways. We believe that this money would be an incredible way to provide athletic meals, meals for clubs, activities, and other programs for students after school. We want to thank Martin's for partnering with Warren County Public Schools. So thank you. The money will be well spent to feed a group that sometimes ends up, didn't get to go home, didn't get a snack, but now they're doing something else. So we'll be able to feed a lot of people. I mean, a tremendous amount of money, $16,402.04. We greatly appreciate it as a school system. Do I have a motion on this?
I move that the donation of $16,402.04 to the Warren County Schools Food Service Department be accepted with gratitude.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll do it right here. Come on.
Okay.
I don't know what's the best photo op for you.
no, I don't either. So I mean, I guess that would be, that's usually the ones you see in pictures, right?
Yep.
And now we're gonna have our picture of our own.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Next item on the agenda is a consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Move on to the action agenda. Approval of Shell Harris Memorial Fund Scholarship. Mr. Fox, please.
Good evening. I'm honored tonight to present 2 scholarships for your approval, and also to, I believe you've already been invited, but our scholarship ceremonies are tonight at 7 p.m. at Skyline High School and tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Warren County High School. The first scholarship is the Shell Harris Memorial Fund Scholarship. Shell was raised in Front Royal, Virginia, and graduated from Warren County High School in 1985. He also graduated from Virginia Commonwealth University with a bachelor's degree in Communications Arts and Design in 1989. He married his high school sweetheart, Leslie Rollins. Shell was a successful graphic designer, and his creative mind encouraged him to open Big Oak Studios Incorporated in 2004 with a coworker. He also wrote a book of smoothie recipes and later created 2 more YouTube channels with his business partner. Shell would tell you about winning the Babe Ruth Little League State Championship at 13, leading Bible study at church, and mentoring anyone who came to him with a desire for personal or professional growth. He was an avid Marvel fan, enjoyed reading high fantasy and humor, and never failed to dazzle with his artistic talent and thoughtfulness. The Community Foundation of the Northern Shenandoah Valley is the patron of this scholarship, and this scholarship is for a Warren County High School or Skyline High School student that wishes to pursue a career in the arts, design, or creative writing. And yes, he was fine. He was a very, very fine man.
Graduated with you?
Year after.
You're out, okay. I knew it was close. Couldn't remember. All right, we have a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the Shell Harris Memorial Fund Scholarship.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Fox. Hold your place. Approval of Faye Smoot Memorial Scholarship. Mr. Fox.
It is also with great honor that I present to you tonight the Faye Smoot Memorial Scholarship. Before I start reading what I wrote, I'll just point out that Faye and I worked together for over 25 years, worked side by side. She was a tireless worker as an instructional assistant bus driver. Her daughter, Daisha, worked at Warren County Middle School for several years and is a proud graduate of Warren County Public Schools. Scott, her son, is also a proud graduate of Warren County Public Schools. Faye Smoot worked for Warren County Public Schools from 1975 to February of 2014, serving as a bus driver and instructional assistant, and frankly, anything else I asked her to do, she would do that as well. Faye loved and honored her students and made the world a better place. The recipient of the scholarship will be a devoted volunteer who serves his or her community. This candidate will be caring, empathetic, and ready to build relationships.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll just preface my motion by, as Mr. Fox said, there's a ceremony tonight at Warren County High School, one tomorrow night at Skyline.
Tonight at Skyline High School at 7, and tomorrow night at Warren County at 7.
But I would just recommend that people listen as they hear who these scholarships are either presented by or in honor of, the diversity of our community and the folks who have given to our schools. And when we became 2 schools, a lot of the organizations doubled and
did not stop.
gave to both. And so with that, I would move that we approve the Faye Smoot Memorial Scholarship with gratitude.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Fox.
Thank you.
Recommend approval of proposed changes to 2021-2022 school calendar and approval of 2022 and 2023 school calendar. Ms. Shepherd, please.
Thank you. The calendar committee reconvened to discuss possible renovations for the 2021-2022 school year. Due to concerns from parents and staff alike, we would like to request revisions to the 21-22 school calendar. The request includes moving the start date of school from Tuesday, August the 10th to Tuesday, August the 17th. The recommended changes includes change the first day of school, changing October 11th from a professional day to a school day, changing November 22nd and 23rd from holidays to school days, moving the last day of school from June 9th to June 3rd, moving the professional day from June 10th to June 6th. One day is built in for weather, and as much as possible, we will schedule weather days as virtual learning days. If we miss more than one day due to weather, we will use clock hours to cover the missed time. Also, the calendar committee created a proposed 22-23 school calendar for your consideration. The calendar includes August 2nd, 2022, teachers would return. August 9th would be the first day of school. There will be a fall break between November 21st and 25th. Winter break would be December 22nd through December the 30th for staff. And then January 2nd and 3rd will be professional days. Spring break will be April the 3rd through the 7th. April the 10th will be the one built-in weather makeup day. The last day of school will be May the 25th. May the 26th will be a professional day. And this, there are no built-in days for weather. There is one weather makeup day, which was April the 10th. As much as possible, we will use scheduled weather days as virtual learning days. If we miss more than one day due to weather, we will use clock hours to cover the missed time. The first reading of the calendars was at the Wednesday, May the 5th meeting, and I would like to recommend proposal of the proposed changes to the 21-22 calendar, and then recommend approval of the 22-23 school calendar. Be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have anything for Ms. Shepherd?
Ms. Shepherd, both these proposed calendars end the first semester before the Christmas winter break.
That is correct. We're going to be on a 4x4 block next year and anticipating the following year, and it will enter we will end the first semester before winter break. Yes.
Anything else? Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. Purchase of security cameras and equipment.
We're supposed to.
Okay.
We're supposed to.
I didn't think we had a motion on this one.
No, there's not one necessary.
I thought you wanted. I thought we were supposed to do it.
This is the second reading, right?
Second reading, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no
I was
motion.
hoping to approve it. Did I not put a motion there? I am so sorry.
I thought this was just the second reading.
Second reading, right?
Yeah, we can do junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Um, We really need to approve the calendar, the changes to the 2021 calendar, 21-22 calendar, so that we can get contracts out tomorrow. Yes.
All right, let me go back here.
So sorry.
That's okay. I was just thinking it was the second reading.
And we
All
can
right.
hold off on the other calendar, the 22-23 calendar
23.
until next meeting.
So, let's just go back. We're changing the first day of school to August 17th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and changing October 11th from a professional day to a school day.
Changing November 22nd and 23rd to holidays.
Okay,
And then the last day of school will be June the 3rd, and the
Instead of
last,
the ninth.
the professional day will be June the 6th.
have one day built in for weather.
Yes.
Clock hours to cover time. And back to Mr. Wells, we will be done before we go out on winter break.
Yes.
Okay, for testing purposes.
All right. You want a motion?
Sure, yes, sir.
Yeah, I would move that we accept the changes to the 2021, 2022 calendar as presented and discussed. And we will hold the 22-23 calendar for discussion and approval at the next meeting.
Second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Shepherd. Purchase of security cameras and equipment, Mr. Grant.
Good evening. The state of Virginia has awarded Warren County Public Schools $190,640 for the purchase of security equipment. This was back in the fall. And we have spent some of it for the intercom at E. Wilson, but we need to spend the rest of it, and we're going to use the remaining money for Warren County Middle School, Skyline Middle School, and E. Wilson Morrison. And that'll be for security cameras, camera software, and the video storages at the buildings. The remaining amount of the $208,500 includes the 25% match that we're required to purchase this equipment. The funding for the project will come from the VISPA security grant and then local technology funds. And this purchase is done out of a contract, state contract. Do you have any questions?
I guess I have one, maybe not really a question, just a comment. I was talking to a security guy today about cameras and storage and all that.
Sure.
And He said the way a lot of places, now, I don't think this will be on a school bus or, anything that always had people around or on it. But they were putting on, like some of the outside cameras of buildings, just only on motion because that was cutting down on a lot of storage.
We do have those on motion.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I mean, I figured you were on top of it, but
Yeah.
it's like when I just heard that, I thought it made sense.
Yeah, because if you're recording that amount of
Yeah.
time of nothing, then your servers are gonna fill up really quickly.
Plus,
So-
a lot of time. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we have software that searches through, we can, we can find it pretty quickly, so.
Fair enough.
Sure.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Grant, can you search by date also?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Grant? Have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that permission be given to Warren County Public Schools to purchase security equipment in the amount of $208,500.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Grant.
Thank you.
Award a contract for Skyline High School Gymnasium shingle roof replacement. Mr. Livesey.
Good evening, and thank you. And unfortunately, I'm back again asking for more contracts from you good folks, but
He was dry, though.
that's what we're trying to do. The gymnasium shingle roof at Skyline High School developed multiple leaks over the years, with several attempted repairs being unsuccessful. We still have the leaks. We posted an invitation for bid utilizing the Commonwealth's EVA procurement website on April 23rd and conducted a mandatory pre-bid meeting on last Friday, May 7th. We also did direct mailings of the invitation for bid to multiple roofing contractors. 7 companies attended the mandatory pre-bid and with proposals due last Friday, May 14th. 4 proposals were received with Vertex Roofing, Inc., the lowest, most responsive bidder at $80,200. Work is scheduled to begin upon receipt of the material, which is anticipated to be delivered by early June with an established completion by June 30th, 2021. Any questions?
Good.
Good. Mr. Wells? Good.
No, good.
I have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that the approval be given to award a contract to Vertex Roofing Incorporated for the amount of $80,200 to replace the shingle roof on the gym at Skyline High School.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Livesey.
You're up with
Stay where you're at. Award a contract for A.S. Rose Elementary School bus loop asphalt resurface.
The asphalt for the bus loop at A.S. Rhodes Elementary School has deteriorated to the point where small repairs, patches, are just no longer feasible nor effective. It's just a patchwork quilt back there. We did solicit a proposal from John Lake Paving Incorporated in the amount of $32,052, utilizing an existing open-end agreement with Fauquier County government and schools that provides us the ability to write that contract pricing. Mr. John Lake has said that this work can also be accomplished by June 30th. It is something we will coordinate with Lance Construction because we are starting the window replacement project June 21st. So we're just going to have to redirect some traffic flow. I do want to state that this proposal does not include the lower level parking lot behind the school. That asphalt is not in bad shape at all. It will include one of the travel lanes or the entry lanes leading to the lower lot, but and the exit lanes coming out of that lower lot are in pretty good shape. So at this time, this does not include that lower level parking lot. So, any questions?
With the window replacement, are you expecting any heavy trucks through there?
Not really. We've already received the material. The windows are currently on site, stored in 2 sea containers on the site. So it's just, and I'll work with Lance. Again, we've got to coordinate the traffic flow. I might move the sea containers because they're stored by the way they want to install them. So I may relocate one from that lower lot and get it up front. Means less traffic to allow John Lake Paving a little more time to get in there and do his work. He's estimating 3 to 4 days to resurface that bus loop all the way around, weather permitting. So,
Do we have a motion?
I move that approval be given to award a contract to John Lake Paving Incorporated for the amount of $32,052 to resurface the bus loop at AS Roads Elementary School.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Award a contract for Skyline Middle School concrete replacement sidewalk and stairs. Mr. Legacy.
also, and the last but not least, as part of the cosmetic renovations to Skyline Middle School, back in April, we did have the contractor look at most of the existing concrete there at the historic front entrance. And you know, Warren, Skyline Middle School, on the front corners, there are 2 sets of stairs that come out of the building down to the front. The stairs on, I'll call it the east side, the cemetery side, are really starting to fall apart. Those are in dire need of replacement. And then the sidewalk that connects, I'll say, stair to stairwell, is original. Some of it's been replaced, but it's probably best to replace the entire sidewalk just for aesthetics. So again, they're in very bad shape. We did solicit a proposal from the Gordian Group, as we did for the greenhouse project, etc., for the contracted amount of $41,142.70. I know that might seem a little high, but bear in mind one thing, those stairs are very long too. The sidewalk is over 350 linear feet of sidewalk. It's a lot of concrete. And this too is work that can be done by the end of June.
You gotta break and replace all that.
Yes.
You gotta break it out and then replace it.
Yeah,
So it's
you
like-
gotta reform it once you jackhammer everything out. I just hope the new concrete lasts as long as the original did. So, yeah. Any questions?
I have none. Do we have a motion?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that approval be given to award the contract to Gordian Group in the amount of $41,142.70 to replace concrete stairs and sidewalk at Skyline Middle.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis. Approval of salary scale stipends for 2021-2022. Mr. Smith?
Good evening. The Warren County School Board approved the 2021-22 salary scales at your last May 5th, 2021 meeting. However, at the bottom, it's a technicality, at the very bottom of those salary scales also includes our stipends for that particular scale, whether it would be for a teacher, for example, a bachelor's plus 15 stipend, or a master's plus 30, or a doctorate, and those type of things. So that was not included in those salary scales. So just for a technicality, I just want to make sure that they are approved. So as tomorrow we issue the contracts, that they will be included. There is an attachment of all the salary scales, and with each of their stipends attached to each scale. I do want to make 2 notes on the salary scales themselves. Is that note on salary scale 27, it states the administrator of the non-traditional programs title has been changed to the principal of non-traditional program, because this better reflects what the person actually does and those type of things and their roles and responsibility. There is no additional funding that calls for this. It's more of a title, a clerical change. In addition, there's a Tier 3 administrator currently serving on the therapist grade 30 scale, and we're asking to have that moved over to the administrator 1, since it's an administrative type position, grade 25. And the admin 1 scale more accurately reflects what this person does and their responsibility. There's no additional funding needed for this as well. It's just starting to align these positions in their correct grade classification.
Pretty much just housekeeping, Mr. Smith.
It's
From what it looks like to me.
Yeah, we're housekeeping here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like we're just cleaning up, make it easier. Any questions?
Yeah, I would just note that the salary review that we did 2 years now, that we did by the outside, one of the things that they noted were a lot of our titles were, it was hard to make apples to apples comparisons with other school systems and even with commercial ventures and things like that, because we sort of have developed them all over the place, and I would see that this is an attempt to try to bring those things in line so that we are putting people in their proper titled positions and their proper duties and that kind
Right.
of thing.
What ends up happening a lot of times over a period of time when you use the same scale and those type of things, that as time goes, you start to put things here and there and those type of things. And after a while, it does accumulate to all different type of titles and those type of things. So here what we're attempting to do, as Mr. Wells is referring to, is sometimes less is more, in the sense to modify and simplify things and put them on the scale of which the roles and responsibilities actually apply.
And with that, I would move that the Warren County School Board approves the salary scale stipends as well as the title change of administrator of non-traditional programs to principal of non-traditional programs. I further move the position of Tier 3 administrator be moved from grade 30 therapist scale to grade 25 administrator 1 scale.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Mr. Smith. Approval of Unified Talent HR software renewal for 2021-2022 school year. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. It's another housekeeping item here. But this housekeeping item does acquire funding and those type of things, and the funding is already budgeted for. A few years back, if you'll recall, that we use Unified Talent as part of our HR software to manage our applications, our records, contracts. There's a job board software where you can advertise on. And so that's part of our HR management system. We renew that each year, July 1st. The annual fee exceeds the $15,000 threshold, of which we would need to come to the board to have that approved. The funding itself is budgeted for in our current budget, and that I am just asking for your approval for that, to be able to pay that so that we can set ourselves up for this upcoming school year, July 1st.
Motion.
I move that the Warren County School Board approves the renewal in the amount of $18,765.30 for Unified Talents applicant tracking, records, contracts, and job boards for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you much, Mr. Smith. Approval of VSBA Excellent Workforce Readiness Award application. Ms. Baker.
Thank you. The VSBA would invite all different counties in the state to present application for Workforce Readiness Awards. This year, we believe we have a winner. This award seeks to recognize Virginia school divisions who have achieved excellence in workforce readiness through our innovative program project within our school community or in some type of regional collaboration. We are looking to use the program project that was designed by Warren County High School in the form of their marketing classes. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, past work-based learning activities such as job shadowing, externships, etc. were not possible due to pandemic mitigation strategies. Wildcat Corner, which is the student store there, would not be allowed to operate as had been previous operational practice. Athletic events were restricted as to the number of spectators allowed to attend in person. Outdoor festivals were canceled indefinitely, thus affecting the opportunities that our DECA students were able to have this year. Not waiting around, they decided to create their own opportunities. By implementing procedural changes in Wildcat Corner and the DECA Tailgaters, both of these student-based activities were not only able to operate within a different environment, but they realized greater profitability. Wildcat Corner is now a full e-commerce business and will remain as such. The partnership with WWAA will remain in effect for future years. Our DECA Tailgaters plan to continue to operate a lunch service, for which they started doing this year since they were not able to work at sports events. This year, that lunch service done on Wednesdays with the teachers grossed sales from its operations that exceeded $4,000. Wildcats Live, which was the sports media program that they worked with, was able to lessen the financial impact from the lost spectator ticket sales. Through the sale of live stream sponsorships, the athletic department benefited from $1,500 from these sales. That will continue to operate in the future as well. This submission and application must be certified by you, the board, by a vote at a school board meeting. So I bring to you this application and ask for your approval to be forwarded to state.
Anybody?
Okay. I'm going to move that approval be given to submit the 2021 PSBA Excellence in Workforce Readiness Award application with great amazement and justification.
It's very amazing, Ms. Baker, how they, there's a will, there's a way.
Just the sports, and our gentleman here was a big factor in that. Just that in itself, all of the other divisions around were tying into something with BHSL and some other commercial entities out there, and yet Warren County stepped up with its business partnerships in order to create something for here that's homegrown. It's awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, and a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Baker.
you.
All right, next up, presentation and discussion of start of school and start and end time survey results. Dr. Donovan. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So I have provided you our survey results along with proposed start, end times, bus arrivals, delayed starts, early releases. When you look at the research into start time, sleep and wake cycles and cognitive cycles with pre-adolescents and adolescents, there's a time in the day that let me back up a second. Your pre-adolescents and adults, they're on the same cycle. So when there's a dip in learning, both the adult and the pre-adolescent are going down at the same time and then coming up at the same time. What you have are your adolescents, they're an hour later, just because of, biology. And so what you have there is you have a longer gap of time when you have your high school, your secondary students, they're ready to learn, but the teachers down here in the cognitive decline, or they're not at their best. And then as the teacher starts to rise, the student starts to go down. And so then the teacher's up here ready to give their best, but the student's not at their learning, at their best for learning. And so there's been limited research with elementary schools. Most of the research has been at the high school or secondary level. And although research has shown, even with limited research for elementary, it has shown that by looking at start times being later in the morning for secondary students, they benefit more than the elementary students. And so, because of the pandemic, we had to switch times because of transportation and making sure we can work all that through our mitigation strategies. And so families had an opportunity the year before with elementary starting at 9, and then this year with elementary starting at 8. Same thing with secondary. They had the previous year starting at 8, and then this year they've started at 9. So we felt it was important to throw those surveys back out to the families because now they've had experience. And you know, the best way to make a decision is to experience a situation. And so through our survey, we had 1,430 responses, and 57.9% said that elementary should start at 8 o'clock and secondary at 9, and 42.1% noted that secondary should start at 8 o'clock and elementary at 9. Again, the start day, or the start time and end time for elementary would be 8 o'clock to 2:35. Doors will open at 7:15. Bus arrival 7:35 a.m. to 7:50. If we have delayed starts, that's a 2-hour, and so you know it would be 10 o'clock. If we have an early release, that would be 12:35. Secondary, 9 a.m. to 3:35. Doors open at 8:15. Bus arrives at 8:35 to 8:50. Your delayed start would be 11 o'clock, and an early release would be 1:35. So, in looking at this, and looking at our data, looking at the research, looking at the survey, I feel that it's best that we go ahead and move with the start time at elementary at 8 o'clock. Yes, at 8 o'clock, and secondary at 9 o'clock for next school year.
I'm in agreement with you. I think the numbers show it. I think it's fine. Questions or comments?
The only question that is probably going to come up is athletics, extracurricular activities, and work for secondary students, and will the block scheduling help with that? Will it be a stumbling block, or how will that work?
So, one, I've always said that, and I'm a firm believer that if I'm signing up for extracurricular, that is extra. That means I'm ready to do extra work. There may be some conflicts, but there can be conflicts even starting at 8 o'clock and getting out at 2:30. Depending upon the drive, depending upon if you're having to start early due to weather, there's always going to be conflicts with any schedule that you put in. One of the concerns that we have would be making sure that our secondary teachers, that we provide some type of after-school care for children, that maybe they have little ones that are in the system, they're getting out at 2:30, they still have to teach till 3:35. And so, making sure that we have a program available for those students to go to for our employees. And I think that when you look at that with what conflicts there may be, there's also some benefits in learning and accreditation. So yes, is it best to, with work schedules and various things to miss a little bit of that to make sure that learning occurs because of the cycles throughout the day? And there's actually some studies that have shown that by starting secondary students later in the day, it actually reduces the amount of accidents that teen drivers have in the afternoon or after athletic events. We are looking at various programs to make sure we can job out. There are those opportunities for certain students that we could work into. So we will work through our issues that we have to manage here, but there's always going to be some problems no matter what schedule you have. And I think that with this, it's going to help us when we move into accreditation to make sure that our students are learning during the peak times of the day that they're ready to be learning and that teachers are performing at their best. It puts them on the same schedule.
I agree. Any other questions for Dr. Ballinger?
I have one.
Okay.
With the elementary school kids, they're coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning. What time would they have breakfast?
So typically breakfast is in the morning. So when they enter the door. So like for instance this year, they would go to their classroom and it would be delivered. Or as they walk through the door, there were carts sitting by the door. Students would grab their bag. This year it was a grab and go, and they would grab that and go to breakfast. You know, there are some things that I would like to try to actually increase our participation and rework schedules to where we are allowing breakfast into the school day. Now that probably won't happen this next year, but students report, then they go through a little breakfast cycle, and then they go back to class. And that also gives time for everybody to eat. You always have students that come in and later, after breakfast is shut down, and yes, we have the grab and go for them that they do come in late and they're able to go and take that breakfast and eat. But typically it's before school starts.
And then, so a child comes in and he's going to have breakfast before 8 o'clock, then he's going to go to his class during that period of time. When would that child go to lunch?
So it will depend upon the school schedule. So you're looking, sometimes lunches can start for the lower end 10:45, 11 o'clock. So that's typically when lunches will probably start.
Because when a child starts getting the hunger pains, even adults, they're not learning. So that's what my concern was, the time spread from when they got breakfast to when they get lunch.
Right, and with the federal government allowing us to have free breakfast and lunch programs, we want to maximize that to the fullest extent possible to make sure that we are filling those bellies in the morning and at lunch. And then with the help of Martin's, now we also have some opportunities to do some other things for those students in the afternoons or after school.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Dr. Ballinger? All right. Thank you, Dr. Ballinger. Next is a discussion on options for providing virtual programming during the 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Ballinger.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this year has caused schools to relook at how education happens and what are the possibilities. We know that this year we have had students that have done great in the virtual world. And we have had students that have failed in the virtual world. There was a learning curve for our teachers, it was a learning curve for staff, for families. We do have interest in a virtual academy or some type of virtual option for students. And most schools across the Commonwealth are offering a virtual component next year. Now Warren County is also kind of out there on an island with, we also have another group within our county that is not part of the school system that, one, as a service organization and as educational leaders, we have resources and availability that we could reach out to them and support them. And so when looking at what schools are offering this year, some are either, one, going with Virtual Virginia, which is ran by the Department of Education. Basically, students could enroll through us to go to Virtual Virginia, or they can actually just go and enroll in Virtual Virginia themselves. And if they enroll through us, there are fees. So for instance, for an elementary student, the fee for a full-time program that would be the cost to us would be $3,600 per student. At the high school level or at the secondary level, you're looking at $175 for a half credit for a semester. So there are fees. Now, those are not our teachers. They are teachers. They are certified teachers in the Commonwealth. There's not always that component of where the school and that student are coming together. There is a little separation there. Everything that Virtual Virginia does is online. Or we have the option of, with our experience this year, with the curriculum that we have, implementing a virtual academy to where we have a little personal touch to it, to where that student is now part of the school. They will have a teacher at a school that they can connect to. They can come in and be part of a library, or if there's a field trip, something of that nature. Also, if those students are secondary and they are considered full-time, which would be 3 out of the 4 classes at the secondary, then those students would actually be able to participate in athletics. It would open up band, it would open up chorus, biology classes, and a lot of different things. But we've had a lot of students that maybe they weren't successful in the brick and mortar, but have been very successful here. We have a lot of those stories. And so as educators, we want to make sure that all of our students are successful. So do we want to shut down this opportunity for that student or for that group of students that they struggled in the classroom with their peers, but they've been able to come in and on this thrive? As an educator, we need to put our students in the best possible situation to learn. And so when you look at this, we would want to look at, if we are developing our own academy, we would want it, one, to be on an application basis. We wouldn't just allow everybody to do virtual academy. Our bread and butter is in the classroom. I am still a firm believer that the best learning happens in the classroom. Also with this, we could do some hybrid stuff to where if a student wanted to take biology, they would still be able to come to the school and do the labs. If they wanted to take band, they could still come to the school and participate in band and be involved in the system. So looking through our proposed handbook, and right now we have our handbook. It's in the hands of our attorney, looking over everything and giving us some recommendations on where we may need to look as far as changes. But we're feeling that the virtual academy through Warren County Public Schools may be our best option, because we want that personal touch. We want to be able to reach out and help our community members and to bring them in and to be there for them. We have all the resources to give a quality program. We have brought teachers together, and over the last month, we have had meetings after meetings. We've had elementary, secondary, and kind of what we've came out from those meetings was that at the elementary level, teachers feel that they need to be a designated virtual teacher, that the hybrid doesn't work in that situation, that they need to be designated as, if they're teaching virtually, then they teach virtual. At the secondary level, those teachers feel a little different, that we can do it during our planning period. So, the cost difference, when I first ran the numbers, and you look at the cost of Virtual Virginia to the cost of what it would be for us to do our own program, it's a little more expensive for us to do it, but not by a lot. But it also allows those students to come in and be a part of the overall system. And so we really feel that it's important to offer this virtual component, not just next year. And I know some schools are just doing it for 1 year. Virtual learning is here to stay. Colleges have been doing it for a long time. Public schools have not. It's here to stay, but a lot of schools are going to do it 1 year and then drop it. This is something I think is sustainable. This is something I think that is needed, especially within Warren County. And I think that it's something that if we can provide a good quality program and give the students and the families what they need. The third option is to not offer a virtual component at all. And if, there are students that you would lose due to not offering a virtual component. So when you look at numbers of our current students that are in our system, there are 71 elementary students that are interested in virtual school. There are 53 6th through 8th grade students and 84 9 through 12. And we have reached out to our home instruction parents. On the home instruction side, there are 42 parents that are interested in elementary. There are 21 at the middle school, and there are 24 at the high school level. So when you look at grade band at elementary, there's 113 students that are interested in virtual instruction. Middle school, 74, and at the high school, 108 students that are interested in virtual learning. Now, one caveat that we could do if we have our own academy is that we can actually set up to where a student can receive a standard diploma or an advanced diploma and receive an actual diploma from Warren County High School or Skyline High School. We can offer that. So there's a lot of opportunities when it comes to virtual learning, but really we need to also have an outreach program because we are responsible for educating our entire community. And my job, I feel it's important to reach out, not just to our current students, but to other families that are in the community that for some reason have decided they want to do something on their own. Educating your child is not easy. It's not. And I think that by us being able to put something out there and have an outreach program and just to help, because those, whether it's here or whether it's a home instruction, those students are going to be the ones taking care of us on down the road. And I feel it's just important for us to maintain and to help our society and help our community and offer our services. So when we look at the virtual academy, there's two ways we can do it. Yes, we can go with the virtual Virginia. We can create our own, or we can do nothing and just make everybody come back to school.
Personally, the do nothing, that's off the table as far as I'm concerned. The virtual Virginia, yeah, that's nice, but I'd much rather it be us, because I think that is our community. Don't put it off over here, because the child can come here if need be. They can get an advanced diploma, and we can probably help them a little more than somebody that's maybe 100 miles away, maybe 200 miles away. We don't know where that teacher's at. I think it would be so much more personable to have it in-house. And it's like you said, the universities do it all the time. Why shouldn't we? Bottom line. But it would be nice to be able to reach out to as you did, to the other communities. And obviously, a lot of feedback came in saying, yeah, we'd like to take a look. So if at all possible, I'd say cost a little more, that's okay. Cost of doing business. Our business is to educate children, so we just need to do what's the right thing, in my opinion. Anybody else have any comments, concerns, questions?
I would just state, as I've stated a couple of other situations, the hospital, State Board of Health Professions. The renowned philosopher of the 20th century, Mike Tyson, once said, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face." As a school system, we've been punched in the face, and the way that we have responded, I think, is is exceptional. We've made mistakes along the way, but I think we've done some major good for our community and for our students. And one thing is the ability to move towards virtual. We have some experience with virtual, and I think we need to expand on it and move in the direction of a virtual academy. Virtual Virginia, over time, I'm sure has adapted and that kind of thing, but as I've seen its place over the years, it's been in those unique situations where we don't have the ability to provide something for that student. A student who wants to take Japanese and we don't have the population, the enrollment, or the facility to bring in a teacher of Japanese. This is something that we have teachers who have become somewhat experienced in virtual learning and who might want to take on that challenge or would like to have that challenge. And so I think, you know, I don't want to say experiment, but I think we just take the leap of faith or the leap of trying something and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Wells and Mr. Williams, but I also would like to ask, you mentioned that some counties will do this for 1 year and then they're going to drop. Well, say a neighboring county was going to drop out of virtual. Can we get those students over on our academy?
Well, it would be just like any other transfer. You have students transfer from county to county, so it would be them transferring into our school system. But again, we want to keep it on an application basis, and we want to look at limiting right now, not really limiting the program, but we have to have some boundaries right now going into next year. And we may say, so for instance, we're looking at 3 through 12. Why are we looking at grade 3 through 12? Because really, pre-K, kindergarten, first and second, you're still learning to read, and you need that teacher, and you need to be in that classroom because there's that median here, that there's that divide, and it's harder for that teacher to do that. And so by starting at 3rd grade, we will be able to have those students that are readers, and yes, we can still do intervention, bring students to school for other interventions, but it's just one of those things that, yes, we can do whatever we want to because it's our program. And then when you also look at, is this program for everybody? It's not. So those students that were not successful, then they won't make the program. For those students that weren't logging in, those students that weren't doing their homework, they're not a good fit. They've already proven that they cannot do this program. And so it does give us the flexibility to change and to adapt. We plan on using, and one question or one bit of information I should provide is that we have the CARES funding. And yes, we want to designate as much CARES funding, all of our CARES funding as possible to the HVAC renovation at LFK and the HVAC at Blue Ridge Tech. But we have these CARES funds available to help support this program. And that's where the funding will come, because it's definitely not in our budget. But neither is the Virtual Virginia, because that's coming out of your state aid too. That's an extra cost. You just take those 42 students or 71 students that are currently our students that want to do the full-time year long at $3,600. And that's your cost. That, yes, we still have that cost of that teacher in the classroom, but now that's an additional cost on top of that teacher we're already paying. So there are opportunities But really, I think we need to focus on our community.
Basically, we're going to crawl before we walk and then see how it goes and make some adjustments and keep rolling with this thing, right?
Well, I think we can start by walking. I don't think we've crawled this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes we rolled down the hill this year. But you know, we have the experience and we have great quality instructors that are ready to go. I know when we surveyed our teachers to see who would be interested in teaching, we had a huge response from teachers that said, yes, I'm interested, but I would like to know kind of the makeup. I would like to know the fee schedule. I would like to know this. So, but we did have a huge response from our educators. And it may be that we have to hire additional staff depending upon the number of students that we would need. You look at the 113 elementary students. Now, yes, that is pre-K through 2, so you could basically take out, I'd say 20 students there easy. So even at 80 students, now that's 4 teachers at the elementary. Just to make sure you have a viable program.
But we have the infrastructure already. From this year, I mean, Mr. Grant has upgraded everything possibly needed, and we ran an entire division with it. So this little part, you know, a couple hundred kids at the most, or students, we should not have any issues with the computer end of it. We obviously had a lot of professional teachers want to do the job, so I think we'll be walking a little faster than what we think. I believe we'll move ahead rather quickly.
We would, and I think, you know, once we get everything back from our attorney on our handbook, because there are some stipulations within our program. You know, if a student falls behind, they can actually be removed from the program. Because it's not, you know, the virtual academy is kind of like an extracurricular activity. It's not we don't have to offer it.
That's right.
We're offering it on top of what we do on a daily basis. And so we want those students to be successful because they also have to come in and take those SOLs. So any 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade student, they're still going to have to come in and take those SOLs because we are educating them. And that also gives, you know, I've talked to a lot of parents that have current students in our system that have said, our kids love this, our kids have thrived in this, please make sure there's a virtual component next year. I have talked to home instruction parents that said, here's what we're looking for. This is what I can't provide, and this is what I would like the school to help me with. And so by having those conversations, we can design and bring in what would be best for that individual or for that student. We could also start cohorts at 9th grade and list our courses, our set courses, have those teachers identified to teach those courses. And yes, it doesn't matter if you live in the Warren County Transportation District or the Skyline Transportation District at the high school. It may be a Skyline teacher that's teaching all Algebra 1, and they're still being able to get a quality educator, they're getting quality education, and they're being able to have a connection between home and school.
I think it's a win for everybody involved. I really do. I think it'll definitely make us stand out. And it'll be so beneficial to the children that did truly thrive on a laptop or a desktop at home. I mean, it's the way of the world now. We got to be willing to change with it. So, I'm good. Anything else for Dr. Ballard? Do you have anything else for us, Dr. Ballard?
No, that's basically it.
Do you need a straw poll or anything?
No. I just kind of wanted to, you know, this is our work session. I just kind of wanted to, you know, we have been, and I want to thank Doug Stefnosky and Dr. Smith. They've been working on this a lot. They've been leading our meetings with our teachers, and they've been putting the handbooks together. They've been doing all the research. Doug has been collecting all of the survey results and keeping everything tallied and making phone calls to parents. So, I mean, they have been involved and they've really put in a lot of work on this and to make sure that we have something to really get us out of the starting gate. Now, yes, we still will be working on this over the next couple of months to roll it out in August. But right now, our schools are looking at the high school level, what courses students need that's on this list that said, yes, I want virtual next year. What courses they need for next year so that we can kind of identify how many teachers we're going to need, what classes we're going to need, what's going to be the total cost. Because there's still some unanswered questions right now as we go through and look at the enrollment and the process to get this real thing off the ground.
Thank you, Dr.
It's
Bond.
impressive.
It is. I mean, can't wait to see how it works.
Yeah.
Next is the update on the COVID mitigation strategies. Mr. Hirsch.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Ballinger, members of the board, thanks for the opportunity to speak with you about this. Anytime a student or staff member is sick, whether it's COVID related or not, we're very concerned. The numbers on our dashboard, on our COVID dashboard that are updated for the community, for the staff, for everyone, updated daily, indicate that we have currently 8 students that are diagnosed with COVID-19. That number is significantly down. We have 0 staff members that are impacted right now by COVID-19. Those numbers across the board cumulatively from September 8th, when we started school this year, has been 148 students have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and 69 staff members. So you can see currently with 0 staff members and single-digit student numbers, our numbers are decreasing. That's not luck. That's due to the hard work that we've done as a school division and frankly, a hard work that the community has done as parents and families. Governor Northam will ease some restrictions with regard to the mitigation strategies to align with the latest CDC guidance. Basically, we're going from Executive Order 72 to Executive Order 79 on May 28th. So what does that mean? Well, according to the governor, due to lower case counts, which is evidenced here, and strong vaccine numbers, Virginia is moving up the timeline for lifting those mitigation measures. CDC's guidelines state that fully vaccinated individuals who do not have to wear face coverings in most indoor settings except in public transit, in healthcare facilities, and in congregate settings. Businesses retain the ability to require masks in their establishments. Employees who work in certain business sectors, including restaurants, retail, fitness, personal care, and entertainment, must continue to wear face coverings unless they're fully vaccinated. That's the guidance coming from the governor. The state of emergency in Virginia will remain in place until June 30th. Face coverings and masks will continue to be required in K-12 public schools given the low rates of vaccination among students. However, that doesn't take away from the hard work that we've been doing. So what do we take from this? Well, yeah, guidance and restrictions are being loosened up. There'll be some gatherings come the 28th. The restrictions on prom and graduation and those kinds of things will be lifted. Fantastic. Case counts are decreasing. Vaccination rates are increasing. Our community is working hard. However, until the end of the school year, it's imperative that staff and students continue to wear their face coverings indoors. When students are at recess, the elementary students, according to our mitigation plan, they can utilize mask breaks during that time and still social distance, being 6 feet away from teachers, being 6 feet away from their peers. And they'll be able to have those mask breaks and enjoy some of that loosening, if you will, of those restrictions during school. So what I'm just trying to do is to update the board on what we live every day. And I really want to end this brief discussion about just commending how hard our staff and how hard our families and students have been working to keep each other safe. And it's really about caring for each other. And it's looking at the journey back from last March and through this school year when we kind of got a handle on things of what's going on. It's really refreshing to see a community that works so hard and cares so much about its people. So, anyway, that's all I have. If you have any questions.
I have answered Mr. Hirsch. Just a comment I'd like to, so as Mr. Hirsch said that, schools are still required to have face coverings indoors. And really on school property is what they're saying. But there has been some leniency with outdoors, as long as you can maintain 6 feet if you're unvaccinated, or if you're vaccinated, you can remove it, the face covering. Now, on May 28th, they are going to lift the capacity restrictions. So we will talk to principals at both high schools tomorrow, let them know that they can have a normal graduation with the caveat or the requirement that we have to send it out that if you're unvaccinated, you're supposed to wear a mask at the graduation. If you're vaccinated, you do not have to wear that face covering. So we are starting to ease out of what we started a year ago this time. So it feels good to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now also to piggyback on that with case, talking about case counts and vaccinations, I just sent a letter out today to families for 12 and over. And so there's a link that we're going to tag that to the second clinic that we're going to have at Skyline High School next Wednesday for those students and families of children 12 and over that would like the vaccine. They can sign up and get the vaccine next Wednesday at Skyline High School. So that clinic is actually going to be one to where you're going to have some students coming in receiving their second dose and some coming in receiving their first dose. So we're continuing to do what we can. And again, that is a parent's choice. That is not they have to have it, but we're moving into certain things that's positive for us. Now, also he mentioned transportation. That means on school buses, these things have to be on. That's just one of the things. So there's a lot of mixed messages out there with where you can wear it, where you can't wear it. We only have a few weeks left of school. Summer school, I got the question yesterday from Ms. Rudisil about what guidance are we going to follow. I said, let's start looking at Executive Order 79. That's the one we're going to be under. And so we're going to build summer school guidance off of Executive Order 79 because 72 will be done and over with on May 28th. So I just wanted to give that information as well.
We'll follow whatever the latest and greatest is.
That is great. Yes, sir.
Is there any information available for August and September when we start up again?
So, in my meeting with Dr. Lane this week, he said basically, get your plan and just say you're going to go by whatever the latest and greatest guidance is at that point in time, with the plan to start 5 days. Now, our plan is we're going 5 days. We're going back to a normal schedule. We will see what mitigation strategies, if we're wearing a mask or if we're not wearing a mask. But we are planning on 5 days a week. We know how to mitigate this thing. We know how to handle it. We've done a good job with it. But we need to get our students back in 5 days a week. So we will just have to see come August if there are any additional hoops we have to jump through.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hirsch.
Thank you, Mr. Hirsch. All right, next up is Action to authorize a closed meeting to discuss employee personnel matter. Mr. Wells, do you mind?
Yeah, this motion is made that this open public meeting of the Warren County School Board become a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711. The school board desires to discuss the following matter in a closed meeting. Section 2.2-3711A1. Discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of employees of the school board, specifically an employee personnel matter. Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Valentine, could you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Rinaldi?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Aye.
Dr. Pence?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
We are now in closed session.
With a